I'm just finishing off a letter to the Prime Minister. When I first heard about Chris Lloyd and his Chrétien letter writing project, I thought, now there's someone who really cares. They're taking the time and the effort to ensure that their voice is being heard. But when I found out he'd written a letter to Jean Chrétien every day for the past 3 years, I had to meet the guy.
I'm sort of documenting like the really redundant facts of daily existence. The Chrétien letter writing project came about because of some concerns I had, or some interests that I had regarding the way that a particular individual is presented through the media on a fairly consistent basis. And I think that's why the whole project ended up turning around the Prime Minister. I started doing some of the portraits, which were again a response to the media, but instead of the written word, it was more of a response directly to the imagery. So as the Prime Minister was featured on the front page of one of the national newspapers, I would save that paper and grid it off, and when I had time, and I'd work on a little painting based solely on that newspaper image. If we say, that we're blessed by living in interesting times, then it might be interesting to document that from a very individual perspective and try and touch on how we respond to media and how we respond to this overload of information, or how we deal with our lives on a political level on a day-to-day basis. I just want to keep chronicling that and sending it to someone that the newspapers seem very focused on in terms of figuring out who we are, what we're doing as a nation. And we're just giving them a little bit of insight from the ground up, I think. It was funny to see that the few responses that I was actually getting, they weren't even directly responding to what I was writing about. And I don't think they really know how to directly respond to what I'm writing about. Maybe a handwritten reply from Jean Chrétien would be a nice way to seal the project, or a visit, or a phone call, or something that sort of like marks a nice closure. Because at this point, there's so many questions about who's reading the information and where it's going and what function it serves. It's just not clear. Maybe he reads them every night before he goes to bed to take his mind off the hectic business of running the country.